Aisha Al-Mazmi and Mikhail Atiyah.
On Pulse 95.
They did it again.
The chair?
The chair.
I should have checked.
Do you see how I'm sinking slowly in slow motion? Let me, if you guys want to see me, of course, check out our YouTube channel. Search Pulse 95 Radio right now. There's a live feed happening, and you can see me. Just watch this, okay? Just watch this, Mikhail.
Okay.
And I will be slowly sinking within the next couple of minutes as I slowly descend towards the floor.
I'll try not to look at you because then I might not take you seriously, you know?
I know, it's just, you know that joke, that miming act, that thing where they pretend to go down the stairs?
Yeah, it's something like that.
That's exactly how I looked like right before we kicked off. I was like, okay, let me fix the chair. And then slowly I can feel myself just descending.
Unintentionally.
Down, just going down. And I'm just like, what is this? I mean, it's okay, but you guys, it's the end of Ramadan. Be nicer to me. At least a little bit of compassion.
They just don't learn, don't they?
Do they? It makes me wonder, do they even love me?
Oh, man. No. There's a whole lot of love
right now.
here. It's just
lots of emotions going on right now as I'm trying to get ready for Eid, and I'm pretty sure all of you are. And everything is all over the place, and I don't know. I'm questioning if the other presenters or whoever sits here every day just does not like me.
That, or they just have a weird preference for that chair, you know? Like, they just have to sit on this.
Do I have to send a heavily worded email?
I think just put a sticky note, and we'll go from there,
like,
you know?
Please, does it say, please, I beg you, do not move the chair?
With a smiley face and a heart.
No, it's a crying face.
A crying face.
It's going to be a crying
with
face.
With a little heart, you know, to
please,
show some sincerity to it, you know?
Please, I would need to print out like a whole big picture, not even a sticky note that says, please, I beg you, do not move the chair. I'm very short. I will descend below the table if you put the other chairs, because for some reason, we just do not want to comply with me, to say the least. But hope you guys are complying with us, because obviously you guys might be the winners, the lucky winners of the riddle. It might be the last time we have the riddle, or we might have it one more time tomorrow, depending on the crescent moon. Within the next couple of minutes, we're going to find out. Honestly, I think it's going to be Thursday.
Most likely.
Most likely. So, guys, don't worry. If you don't win today, you might have one last chance. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't be sending in your answers as we play the riddle throughout the next 2 hours.
Exactly. And, guys, we also have a special celebration. I think one that a lot of us would love to celebrate. Not only today, but every day.
Absolutely.
Also, we got the new Venom trailer, the Venom 2, Let There Be Carnage. And it was a beefy trailer with a lot of little insights here and there. Even a glimpse into the film's antagonist. As well as we have some PlayStation 5 news. I know there's still issues with the console being in demand, but there's not enough supply. But Sony has went out and provided an unfortunate news. But there's also a countermeasure that they want to start working on, and we'll be talking about that. And as well, we got a Ramadan Binge. We got something we'd love to recommend to you while you still got those couple of hours right before iftar. Guys, again, the text lines are up, 4215 into Salat Ardu. Don't forget that riddle, and don't forget to join in the conversation right here on the Evening Cut Up.
What's the date?
What's the date?
What's the date?
What are we celebrating today?
Just like Mikhail said, this is probably a celebration that you want to celebrate during Ramadan. You want to celebrate throughout, especially Eid, and even beyond that. And that is Eat What You Want Day, which means that today should be the day where you eat whatever you want. You know, this thing you've been looking at and like, I really don't want to eat it or shouldn't eat it. Go ahead and do that. That is your sign to do just that. And this brings us to a very serious topic. Now, we're not qualified nutritionists. We're not qualified, anything. But we're qualified presenters.
Yes.
That is it. That's all we are.
That's as big of a disclaimer we can put.
Yes, but we all know how problematic diet culture can get. And sometimes even the concept of calorie counting can get to your mind. It can, in extreme cases, lead to various eating disorders, and that is a very common thing throughout the entire world. It is very unfortunate, but it is very, very real. But I feel like this day can kind of help you with that. Just a little tiny bit where you can calm down your conscience and go ahead and eat whatever you want. I know that Eid is coming and you don't want to, mess around with those sizes, right?
True, but who said you can't celebrate a little pre-Eid? You know what I'm talking about?
But the dresses and your outfits, Mikhail.
Keep those in a separate room while you go all guilty pleasure.
No, not
on
getting
the
it
food.
dirty.
Oh.
Fitting into it.
I see. Well, then I think you're going to have to do a little upsize at the tailor shop later tonight.
I don't think this tailor is going to be prepared for that. They're going to be very, very angry.
It's like, I just need you to have enough space for a little bit of belly. He's like,
Just in case. But like we said, like jokes aside, take advantage of that day. Use it as a way to kind of be gentle on yourself and take care of yourself and indulge a little bit.
Exactly. You know, I most of the time, I'm a foodie guy. But there'll be times where I hold back because usually it's a little bit pricey, or it's far off somewhere, or I need to find a time and place. But sometimes I'm like, you know what? I'm going to put everything down. I'm going to treat myself. I feel like I deserve that large size, delicious slice of cake from that one bakery that I usually get every once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
It's stuff like that. And just the whole experience of it, I think at the end is worthwhile. So don't feel too guilty. Don't restrict yourself. Have a little bit of freedom. I think that taste of freedom is what makes it so delicious in the first place. And the celebration itself, eat whatever you want.
Eat whatever you want. And I love how you brought in the other aspects that might stop you from indulging yourself. And I've started doing this thing. I learned it from my friends who, for example, the ones who live in Abu Dhabi, where a lot of things are quite sparse. Like if you want to go somewhere, you want to get to the nearest restaurant, it might be a good 40.
You got to make a whole trip out of it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's 40 minutes long, but they're like, we don't care. We feel like getting that, so they go for it. And I learned from them that, so what? Why don't I go out of my way, go all the way till the end of Dubai, go all the way till the end of Ajman, or as far as I want to, because
if it's worth the trouble, why not?
Exactly, just because I'm craving it. I feel like I deserve it, and I should make it just like you said. Make a trip out of it, make it a fun thing where I just make some time, and I'm like, yeah, let me go do that. This reminds me of actually a couple of months ago. I had to run an errand to a family member who was visiting at the time. And it was Thursday, first of all. So, Sharjah, Dubai, traffic is really bad on a Thursday.
Ya Allah.
And I had to go and drop it off at Dubai and then come back to Sharjah. So I was like, I'm very upset about it because this would be the third time I go to Dubai in 12 hours. And I was exhausted by then. Actually, 4 times within like a 48-hour thing, basically. So I was very exhausted. I'm like, you're seriously going to drag me to Dubai again for a small mistake, because they kind of had a mix-up.
Oh, my God.
So it's like, you guys are dragging me all the way there on a Thursday night. You guys are kidding me. So I was like, no, I'm going to make myself feel better. I'm going to go like a further extra step to like a bit further into Dubai and get one of my favorite drinks, even though I know that I will get stuck in traffic. But it kind of evened it out. It made me feel much better after I ran that errand. And then I went down there. Again, kind of got stuck in traffic for a bit. But even though it was very funny because I got stuck in traffic trying to get to the shop. I mean, it took me longer to get to the shop and find parking than actually getting the drink. It took me like maybe 5 minutes tops getting out of the car, getting the drink, and coming back to my car. So it felt very small, but at the end of the day, I was just very happy.
You got to do exactly what you wanted.
Exactly. I indulged myself. I said, so what? I'm really craving this. I should get myself something like that. So that's what you should do. One, you should reward yourself every once in a while. Be gentle on yourself. Be nice to yourself.
Live a little.
But also at the same time, do not constrain yourself too much. Like I said, be very nice on your soul. You've been going through a lot, all kinds of things. And things have been going up and down, up and down. We're living through a pandemic. So many changes have happened. There's so many things happening in the world. Some really bad things happening in the world. And that might take a toll on you. And you are at a privileged place where you have the ability to indulge yourself. So take advantage of that and go ahead and do that thing. And that is, go eat what you want.
Go eat what you want. You deserve it, guys. The text lines are up. Do share your own personal guilty pleasures. I'm a foodie, so...
Again, Mikhail, if you're indulging yourself and it makes you happy, is not a guilty pleasure. It's just a pleasure.
It is just a guiltless pleasure.
A guiltless pleasure,
There you
exactly.
go.
No such thing as guilty pleasure as long as it makes you happy and it does not hurt you in any way.
And guys, if you want to eat whatever you want for 500 dirhams worth of cash, you can get a chance to win by texting us 4215. It's Salat to Do. We're going to be playing that riddle, and we want you to join in and win today right here on the Evening Karak.
Riddle me this, riddle me that.
Okay, it's time for that riddle. You know what it is. Text us 4215. It's Salat or Do. We are going to be playing the riddle throughout the hour, but if you're an early bird and you've been listening to this riddle since the morning, it's about time you listen right now. Again, the text lines are 4215. It's Salat or Do. Listen very carefully.
Does anybody else feel like a fried egg? But you can call me
The Riddler. Riddle me this, riddle me that.
Four clever men sat down to play and played all night till break of day. They played for cash and not for fun, with a separate score for everyone. Can you explain? I'll say that again. Four clever men sat down to play and played all night till break of day. They played for cash and not for fun, with a separate score for everyone. Can you explain?
The awesome Sharjah Ramadan Festival is back. Solve the riddle and win 500 dirhams cash daily. It's also your chance to win wow prizes from participating outlets. Organised by Sharjah Chamber of Commerce and Industry.
I think by the end of the month, you should make a compilation of my very perplexed face. Because
Same here.
I'm like, what?
If only the multicam can record our faces while we're listening to the riddle for the first time.
Yes, I mean, yeah, we do get the riddle earlier, as in just the question. Again, we do not get the answer. But we don't open it. We try to experience it with you guys.
The blind sort of experience.
Yes, and I'm trying to think of, the entire situation sounds very direct, but it's actually abstract, but it feels that at the end of the day, it goes back to something solid, maybe an object of some sort. I'm thinking of things that have four things, for example, like a chair, a table, like some tables
They did
maybe.
say that these four clever men do sit down and they play for cash.
Yeah, I mean, you put the chair, as in the chair's legs on the floor, so
Okay.
they stand with each other. But at the same time, what do you mean by play for cash? And they don't play for fun. So this is where it threw me off.
I'm like, is this a casino? Is there some, like card games happening? That's the sort of idea I get.
Yeah, but I don't think it's that. I think they're trying to trick us.
Yeah.
Maybe there's something happening.
And they all have separate scores. Now, I don't know why, but I'm thinking they're all sitting in front of one of those pachinko machines where you put a little coin.
I mean, it
ding,
could
ding, ding, ding,
be
ding.
literally anything. But again, I think it's something in front of us, but we cannot figure it out. I've been trying to think of it, and I can't reach any sort of answer.
Okay, how about this? Four clever men, they go to an arcade place.
Mikhail, again, I don't think it's that. I think it's something.
And they're playing for cash.
No. Think about it.
Okay.
Think about it. I really don't think it's going to be something like that. It's not going to be you explaining what the scenario is. It could be anything. It could be an object.
Yeah.
Think about it. It's less of a explain what is happening here. What are they playing for? What are they doing?
Four clever men sitting down all night long playing for cash. They're live streaming on Twitch for donations because there's a charity event, right? Listen, I'm making wild guesses, okay? They might be wrong,
Mikhail,
they might
I
be
cannot
right.
repeat myself 7,000 times. I'm telling you, it's probably an object.
Okay, all right.
Think about it.
Fine. It could be a thing, it could be humans. The riddle can go both ways, but what matters is you guys text us 4215 and Salat or Do for a chance to win 500 dirhams cash, courtesy of the Sharjah Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Now, 500 dirhams. I wonder what you can do with that kind of money.
A lot of things, of course. Again, can buy food, indulge in that, eat what you want.
Eat whatever you want. I'd go to the best like brunch or buffet event that's in the UAE.
Buffet, no. Why would you go for a buffet?
It's eat whatever you want day, so you know.
Honestly, to be honest, I'm not a big fan of buffets unless they're breakfast buffets. But when it comes to brunch, lunch, and dinner, it's like, no.
Honestly,
give me
that's
the
a
menu.
challenge. Just like a physical challenge for me.
I'm talking about the food. It's not as indulging as going and ordering off a menu, to be honest. If you sit down on a buffet, it's like, again, a lot of people actually apparently share this same sentiment when I was telling them that the only buffets I'd be okay with would be breakfast buffets. Other types, I'm not a big fan of, to be honest. Maybe iftar buffets, but in general, not a big fan of them. So again, go to that restaurant, order a la carte, guys. Go crazy with that menu. Don't go for the set menu. Go a la carte and pick whatever you want with those 500 dirhams and eat what you want.
If I did win 500 dirhams, I'd go to a very special place in Mulligan where they have this delicacy of desserts. I think you once treated us to it.
Sweetopia?
Not Sweetopia, no. It's okay, so basically it's like a sheet of hard chocolate and it's covered with nuts.
Oh yeah,
There's only one place or one branch
yeah.
that does this.
Yeah.
And I'd go for them. And I'd pay top dollar for it.
I mean, you could actually also, because I believe it's an independent business, maybe even just straight up hit them up. Maybe, honestly, I think it's going to be very hard for you to hit them up right now due to Eid. But honestly, go for it. Go
500,
crazy.
I'm like, yes, can I buy the whole shop? It's like,
Buy 6, 7 of them and just go crazy throughout the Eid weekend. What do you guys think is the answer? 4215 Itisalat, or do tell us all about it. Give us the answer and give us a bit of a hint as to what will you use those 500 dirhams for. You have around an hour and a half before we finally announce the winner.
Make a hot cuppa and relax. It's Evening Karak with Aisha Al-Mazmi and Mikhail Atiyah.
On Pulse 95.
We finally got a glimpse into Venom's first trailer, which I avoided, obviously. Just watched the beginning. And I loved the beginning, obviously, for obvious reasons. Actually, funny thing is, somebody tweeted just exactly that scene like around a year or two ago.
really?
Yes, they were like, I want the opening scene from the Venom trailer to just be Eddie Brock and Venom just trying to make breakfast. And that is exactly the first scene of the trailer. And that was a while back. And they quote tweeted it. They're like, oh, I cannot believe this actually happened.
I really like that. That's doing something for the fans, you know.
I think it's random. It's not on purpose, obviously.
It's also good marketing because it was a surprise introduction. You'd think already just get to the action, get to what we want to see. But
Not at all, honestly.
I think it's still just as good seeing the dysfunctional relationship of
Again,
Eddie Brock and the Venom.
I do not care about the action simply because it's expected. We know it's gonna happen. It's nothing new. It's nothing mind-blowing. If there is no action, that's when you're like, what's going on? This doesn't work. So I do not care about the action. So if they had skipped the action scenes and they just did not even introduce us to that many characters and just showed us like teasers of their relationship, that is perfect because that is exactly what Venom is all about. It's about the relationship between Venom and, of course, Eddie Brock and their dysfunctional relationship, because that is exactly what carried the movie, the first one. Because if we're being honest, a lot of people did not like it and it did not do that well, but I loved it so much simply because of their relationship and because of how unhinged it is and how they are kind of frenemies. Like, they kind of dislike each other, but they know that they love each other deep, deep down.
Yeah, like this weird one side, Eddie wants to make sure that he's able to fit in society and look normal, and then you got the Predator guy, Venom, who is very protective and wants to just beat up every criminal that he sees out there, maybe even eat them. But you know, that I think there's gonna be a lot more of that dysfunctional relationship playing out, and it's gonna be definitely really funny. For some reason, I feel like even the voice this time, like you can tell he sounds a little bit more jerky. You know, he's gotten used to being in Earth and just, you know, living the everyday lifestyle. And yeah, I just can't wait to see more of that. But also, we finally get a glimpse on Woody Harrelson's Carnage. Now, one thing I did notice, because from the post-credit scene of the first film,
Yeah.
his hair was a lot more frizzy. It was a lot more, wild. This time they seem to cut it down a bit. He has less hair. I guess they did some reshoots, or they maybe did some changes, but it's still.
Oh yeah, definitely. That usually happens. I mean, look at Thanos. Even though Thanos was first kind of introduced back in 2011, just a glimpse of him or something. And obviously you can say, yes, it's been 7-8 years. So obviously they changed, they've gone through a lot when it comes to editing and CGI and special effects. I understand that. But also usually they go through some various changes in design to whatever fits the design eventually when they get to said movie. So it makes sense that they kind of changed him here and there.
There's also there's a few scenes where the character himself that Woody plays calls out for Eddie Brock himself. It seems like Eddie's probably the only person he talks to whenever he is in jail, because Eddie, he's a journalist, so I guess he was interviewing him a couple of times. So I guess he has a weird friendship, twisted friendship idea of some kind.
Or he's just obsessed with him, and he
probably
wants
obsessed,
to get over him, basically, or murder him, or do something about it.
I don't know what it is, but there's then they show finally just a small scene of how he does become, how he gets the symbiote into his system, and then everything basically goes from chaos to carnage as we just get a few seconds of the actual carnage. And I gotta say, it looks really, really good. I looked at some comparisons at the comics, and my only question, my only hope, is this movie gonna be R-rated, or is it gonna be PG-13? Because
I feel like it needs to be R-rated.
It has to be R-rated, because this is carnage. This is unapologetic, violent kind of a character.
His literal name is Carnage, so it only makes sense.
If they cut away, if they ever cut away from him killing and whatnot, it'd feel cheap. It'd feel like you're not really giving that particular antagonist justice. And that's just, comic geek, movie geek kind of thing.
It only makes sense. And it's just the way it is. Like we said, we do not condone unnecessary violence in any way in movies, or unnecessary scenes that shouldn't be there.
But
however,
if it serves the plot.
If it fits the plot, especially when it comes to violence, sometimes it kind of works out. And if parents are listening to us right now and they're thinking, no, I don't want to show my children that, well, children shouldn't be in an R-rated movie anyway, so it's just not for them, to say the least. But also, we understand that some scenes should not be there, but sometimes, for example, like Deadpool, imagine Deadpool that is not R-rated. That would not make sense. It's not boring. It just does not work out. It's got nothing to do with boredom. It just will feel very unauthentic.
Feels like it's missing something.
Exactly. And there's a small tribute to Stan Lee as well. If you notice, there was a small magazine. And one of the shots, and it had Stan Lee's picture, sort of like a small homage to him. And they also hint at another symbiote host.
Really? All that? I mean, you only watched half the trailer.
I don't know.
How did I miss
It's called reading.
Okay.
I'll doing some reading afterwards, because I don't want to watch any of the trailer, because I don't want to ruin it for myself.
Good.
The Green Knight's trailer finally came out. Great news. July 30th.
Yes.
It's coming out.
Yes.
And I'm avoiding that trailer.
No, I'm watching it right after this.
I'll send it to you in the break. But if we go back to Venom Let There Be Carnage, there is actually introduced a very interesting character. His name is Patrick Mulligan. He is a policeman, and in the comics, he is the host of a symbiote called Toxin. And Toxin comes out, or is sort of like the born out of Carnage, basically.
Okay, so like a byproduct of him.
Exactly. So this might be hinting at what would the post-credit scene might be.
Or a potential sequel.
And a potential sequel. So there you go, guys. Do whatever you want with that information. Check out the trailer, and if you have, text us 4215. Do tell us what you think of it. We're excited. I love watching Eddie Brock and Venom do their thing, and also I love Woody Harrelson, and also I love good old Thomas Hardy. I'd watch him in anything.
The Sony Marvel highly anticipated Venom Let There Be Carnage is going to be coming out in September 24th of this year, hopefully with no foreseeable delays. But until then, we're going to wait and see. Guys, text us 4215. It's Cilantro Do for that riddle and your opinion
and
on...
actually a question.
Yeah.
You know how Sony has a deal with Netflix? Does that mean it's going to have a theatrical release and a Netflix release?
Ooh.
That's the question that we need to think about.
That's a whole discussion on its
Yes,
own.
I mean, maybe they'll wait a couple of weeks then release it on Netflix, or will they
That could be the way.
that could be the way, or are they going to do the Disney Plus thing where it runs simultaneously on both platforms, that is theaters and also on Netflix? That is another thing to think about, but coming up next is that Ramadan Binge courtesy of Mikhail.
A time to binge. What to watch. Read, and play. This Ramadan.
You might be thinking, what do you mean Ramadan binge? Ramadan is ending. Eid is on Thursday. Guys, it's been announced. Eid is on Thursday. If you guys have missed out on the news, wherever it is. So you're like, what are you talking about? We only have one more day left and we're already busy. We're running around and we have errands. We're trying to get our hair done before Eid. It's okay, guys. It's okay. You can always take those suggestions and take them over after Eid, especially during Eid. I know on the second day of Eid, most likely, some of you guys are not going to do anything, or neither on the third day of Eid. So take those suggestions and recommendations and save them for later, for when you actually need them. Today we have a suggestion or recommendation from Mikhail.
Okay, so my Ramadan binge recommendation is a two-parter animated film called Batman: The Dark Knight Returns. Now, this is based on a comic series from Mark Miller. A lot of fans consider Mark Miller as the person who created the best of the Batman stories back in the 90s, when Batman was taking that huge shift from being a silly character
like
to
from an animated cartoon that is usually associated with children, perhaps, and the frivolousness of superheroes in animation. And we're not saying not all comics are random and funny and just stupid.
Nobody took Batman seriously in the 70s, 80s, but it was that 90s where it was a lot more darker. Stories were a lot more grittier and violent and telling something a little bit more mature. And this one is a very I would say, very unique story. Batman Dark Knight Returns tells us, it starts off with the story of Bruce Wayne, who has retired from being Batman. 10 years it's been since his retirement. And, the city of Gotham is still filled with criminal activity, and it's just getting worse and worse. And with the unfortunate death of Jason Todd, his trusty Robin, he just never felt the need to come back. But almost like a catalyst takes place when Gordon Freeman has to retire himself, and he feels the responsibility of stepping back into the city, putting back the cape, the cowl, and just bringing the fear into those who do not follow the laws. So, but what makes this interesting is that, for a lot of times we watch all these adaptations of Batman, and he's an unstoppable force. He's the smartest man in the comics. He's like the best detective in the world. He's got the strength, he's got the prowess, the stamina. But this is a Batman who's in his 50s now, and what I like is that the story explores his struggle to get back into the bat suit, and fighting these new types of enemies who have in some way evolved and no longer fear the symbol of Batman. And so it's not enough to be, he doesn't have the speed, the strength to overcome them. And there are times in the film where he will be violently defeated. And so now he has to find clever ways to, sort of beat his enemies. And I really like about it is that it brings back some old enemies like the Joker, Two-Face, and even some old friends. And I won't say anything about the friend part because, again, this is a two-parter film. Each film is about roughly an hour, 40 minutes, but you can't get enough of it because it's such a beautiful attempt to tell a almost like a sad story of Bruce Wayne just wanting to make the world better, but at the same time he's someone who almost gave up on Gotham, and he's trying to bring back that hope.
And he's human. Basically.
He's human,
he's
yes,
very human.
And he knows that he's getting old and his legacy is almost gone, and he needs to find a way to continue this legacy to give the symbol of Batman to a new generation. And it's such a phenomenal film. And again, I will say it is a bit mature, so it is a little violent, it's a little adultish.
So what you're saying is just because it's animation doesn't mean it's suitable for children.
It's not suitable for children, but for hardcore Batman fans out there, I highly recommend this movie. If you haven't watched it yet, I'm just asking, like, why haven't you done this? Because there's some really epic moments in this, and it comes from friends and foes and just Batman. And I will say the ending for this two-parter is one of the most satisfying. Like, I got goosebumps at the end.
Oh wow.
Yes, I don't want to spoil anything, but this is a movie, this is an animated film that's worth watching. It's called Batman The Dark Knight Returns Part 1 and Part 2. It's an animated film, and I highly recommend it to watch it during your Ramadan binge.
There you go, guys. There is an idea. Perhaps our last Ramadan binge for the month of Ramadan. But that's okay. We're going to get back to our Thursday recommendations every once in a while, whenever we can, when we go back to the afternoon karak at 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. next week. As for what's coming up next, we've got some news about the PS5. Some of them interesting and one of them not so good. Stay tuned for that and so much more right here on the Evening Karak.
Make a hot cuppa and relax. It's Evening Karak with Aisha Al-Mazmi and Mikhail Attia.
On Pulse 95.
This is bad news for a lot of you people who have been holding up and waiting for an official release of the PlayStation 5, especially Mikhail, who said that he will not bend down.
I will not buy from the resellers.
He will not buy from the resellers at a premium price, but if it is true, if according to the CFO of Sony, who said that the delays are going to continue and do not expect the supply issues to solve themselves very soon, but rather expect them well into next year. And this is coming from somebody, the CFO, first of all. Second of all, we're only midway through 2021, and he's already saying that this is going to be happening throughout 2022.
Oh, dear.
So this means, Mikhail, at this point, you might not get your hand on a PS5 until well into 2022. And if he says, it sounds very vague. He says well into next year. It could mean the beginning of next year, mid next year, or even throughout the entirety of the year, which means you might not even get your hands on one until 2023. So my question is, Mikhail, are you rethinking that?
Possibly, yeah. I was hoping to get a PS5 sometime later this year, in hopes that things will ease up and there are available units. But from reading this article, I understand there's high demand for the PS5. It's sold about roughly so far 14.8 million PS5 units worldwide, and it's still going. It's still growing very strong. But I think maximum by the end of the summer, I need to have a PS5 because there's going to be some big exclusives, and I have to play them and I have to review them.
Exactly.
Starting off with Ratchet and Clank.
There isn't much you can do about it, and the issue is, I feel that the latest restocks have only been in the United States. They've been in places like GameStop, on Amazon and whatnot, Best Buy, all these places that a lot of people around the world have no access to. They cannot really order it from there and have it shipped here. It's going to be the same amount of money you're going to pay if you're going to pay an extra 200, 300 dirhams for a reseller.
Yeah.
It's just easier to go get it from a reseller than buying it online in the United States, if you can even do it in the first place.
Reluctantly speaking.
Exactly. So, guys, some of you guys might need to rethink your criteria, maybe rethink your priorities, and perhaps
jump up the budget.
Jump up the budget,
PS5.
definitely, and just hand out this cash and just give up and get it from a reseller. But apparently there are rumors. Now this is a very interesting rumor that the PS5 might be remodeled.
Yes, it's going to be doing possibly a redesign within next year, and this is due to the global semiconductor shortage. The basically the CPU and the PS5 might get swapped with the original one and get into full production. Think of it as, I wouldn't say it's a PlayStation 5 Slim, but it could be the case here. Maybe it's just slightly slim with a different chip inside of it, because they know the demand is high and they just cannot accommodate the supply.
The question.
So, yeah.
The important question.
The question is
it a downgrade in terms of performance?
I hope that won't be the case, because I think they want to fulfill what they're marketing for that next gen console. I think they're gonna have to step away from AMD and go to another chip manufacturer of some kind to fulfill the same amount of performance and graphical fidelity. And that would mean, again, a change in the architecture, the internals of the PS5, and maybe also the outer design of the console itself. So maybe, just maybe, this could be a PS5 Slim that we're usually getting earlier than expected, because during a life cycle of a console, you get about 7 to 8 years max, but somewhere in between 3 years each, there's always a Slim, like a PS3 Slim, Super Slim. There was one for the PS4, so there could be one happening for the PS5, but a little bit earlier than we expected.
Again, those are all rumors and reports here and there, and we just need to, as usual, wait and see.
If anybody has a PS5, just text the 42125 and that's all what to do.
At a good price, of course. Mikhail Khalas is giving up. He just needs to convince himself that he
I'm willing to pay above retail just at this point.
At this point, it's great that he's saying that, because like a mere week and a half ago, he was so adamant. He's like, I will not do that. I will never do that. But here he is.
I just saw that Ratchet and Clank new PS5 game, and I'm like, okay, I can't do this anymore.
There isn't much you can do about it.
And Resident Evil 8.
And Resident Evil 8, even though people are playing it on Steam.
Yeah.
But maybe you want to experience it on the PS5 as well. We're not done here on the Evening Karak, so make sure you're staying close and keeping Pulse 95 locked. We've got an entire hour for you, and since it is not Eid tomorrow, this means that you might have a chance to win today and tomorrow, but that shouldn't stop you from texting us 4215 Salat or do if you know the answer to the riddle.
Make a hot cuppa and relax. It's Evening Karak with Aisha Al-Mazmi and Mikhail Atiyah
On Pulse 95.
We are back at it again right here on the Evening Karak, the second hour, the magic hours right here on Pulse 95. The last day for the guessing game.
Should it be the last day?
You have no way of winning anyway.
I know, but I love it so much. I want to keep playing it,
Listen, we're going to play it afterwards, but as for the Ramadan version, obviously I'm at the lead with 3.5 points right now.
6.5.
6.5.
I'm 2.5.
He's at 2.5. So I did get that 4-point lead. So happy for myself. And I might make it a 5-point lead, because yes, last week he was playing dirty with me. And I'm here to play dirty back.
Oh, God.
So I hope he's ready for this one. It took me a while to find just the right quotes for me to play for him.
All right.
So we're going to see
So we're pulling out the big guns here.
Obviously, I was very nice to you throughout the entirety of the month, and then you had to do this to me at the very end. You just made an enemy out of somebody who could have been your friend, basically.
I'm sorry, but sometimes it's no longer about the game. It's about like something more personal,
Well, you say that only because you're 4.5 points behind me.
You know that one meme where the black guy just kind of like, he has his arms open. He's like, and I took that personally. That's you right now.
Exactly. Because again, I was being so nice. Every single time I'd pick something, I'm like, yeah, it's probably something he watched. I know he watched this. Or I know he played this. But he had to pull out The Godfather, and he goes like, which one? How do I know which one?
You tell me, film fanatics, should that be my fault or hers?
It's your fault, because you could have been a little bit more considerate. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. We're not gonna play. We're gonna be playing a little dirty on the guessing game. I can't wait. I'm a little nervous. I'm excited at the same time. Also, we got a few more stories to talk about. Resident Evil 8. Apparently, there is a director who's claiming that some of the monster designs have been stolen. His own personal work stolen from the game itself. Also, there is a new registration, a beta registration for the Final Fantasy Battle Royale. If you hadn't had enough of Final Fantasy VII, you finished part 1, you played the whole thing.
Or you're like me, you said, I'm going to go back to it, and it's been a year now, and you haven't gotten back to it. Perhaps this is a signal for you to get right back to it. And also, we're going to be talking about a rumor that we're going to be getting a Hulk movie, a solo one, finally, in the MCU.
Now, we know we have She-Hulk, but are we going to get a He-Hulk? I'm just... Listen, hey, you got to throw in a little pun every once in a while.
I'm sorry. That is subpar, Mikhail.
Okay.
I can't even say you tried your best because you did not even try at all.
Well, you guys can try to win 500 dirham cash courtesy of Sharjah Chamber of Commerce and Industry by answering our riddle. We're going to be playing it right now. The text lines are up, 4215, Insolent, or do listen well.
Who? What? Where? It's as good as a guess. Evening Karak's guessing game.
This is the grand finale of the guessing game during Ramadan. This does not mean we're not going to bring it back afterwards, but if you guys have been tuning in throughout the entire month, you'd know how the competition has been ablazing, to say the least. So far, I've got a 6.5 score. Meanwhile, Mikhail has 2.5. The reason why we have a 0.5 is because somebody decided to play dirty last week. So here I am, doing exactly the same thing. And I'm not going to be too cocky, but I'm just going to say,
good luck.
Good luck.
Okay.
And anyway, I've got the 4-point lead at least. Let's see if I can make it a 5-point lead.
Okay, guys, this is the guessing game where we challenge each other's wits and knowledge of movies, shows, and games by taking a little bit of soundbite and basically making the other person guess what it is. It's my turn to guess the soundbite. I'm going to play it right now. The first one.
Are we there yet?
Yes, we have arrived at Shutan for the official handover. Then you will be presented to the king and to your fiancée. Your Royal Highness, may I present to your mistress of the household, Countess Noy.
Your Royal Highness.
Okay, this can be like any Victorian era drama series or movie in existence. Highness, Your Majesty. What is this? Is this Queen's? No, not Queen's. Crown on Netflix. No? Okay, so let me ask a few questions really quick. It's a movie.
Yes.
Is it a movie that has a sequel?
No.
It doesn't have a sequel. Mm-hmm. Okay. Oh my God.
It does not narrow it down because most period movies and TV movies do not have any sort of sequel.
Okay. This is a movie based on a biopic of real royalty?
Yes.
Yes? Mm-hmm. So it's not fictional royalty?
It is real, but it has elements of fiction, of course.
Okay, so
Here
it's inspired royalty. So
it's mostly real, obviously. But usually, okay, here's the thing.
Yeah.
Even though, again, this does not really, it does kind of narrow it down. But if you think about it, even The Crown, which is based on the British royal family that's alive and well now, even that has a lot of fictitious stuff here and there.
Like creative liberties.
Yes, so here's the same thing. So when it comes to anything that is considered based on a true live person from history, there's a good chance, a good chunk of it, maybe half of it, quarter, a tiny bits here and there that are going to have some sort of creative liberties. So that question does not work at all, honestly. Think of every single movie. Every single one of them has that.
Is it Emma with a dot?
No, I love how I said Emma with the dot to distinguish it from any older Emma.
Pride and Prejudice, 2002.
There is no 2002 version.
I think the early 2000s or something.
I mean, choose a date.
Okay, wait, let me go and
You
Google.
cannot Google
I
anything.
can't Google.
Oh,
Okay.
if you can Google the date, but
No.
I cannot Google what Godfather was in.
Is it an iteration of Pride and Prejudice of some kind? Because there's a lot of movies. Which
Mikey, you can't ask
Okay,
that question.
okay,
You're literally saying, you're asking me for the answer. Is it a version of Pride and Prejudice? Mikhail, what is your answer?
Okay, can I listen to the other one?
Go ahead.
All right, let's do that right now.
I'm pleased to tell you how wonderful your brothers and sisters are doing in their marriages. Maria Carolina is pregnant, expecting her first child in June. By reflections on your dangerous situation. Everything depends on the wife, if she is willing and sweet. I can't repeat enough the importance for you to employ charm and patience, never ill humor, to remedy this unfortunate situation.
Okay, so it seems like it's a story that focuses on marriage and some siblings and whatnot in some sort of royalty of some kind.
So basically, Mikhail, every single period drama.
Okay, Netflix is Bridgerton.
No.
Oh man! Oh my God! Okay. I gotta, cause I have to think like you. I have to think. What is it that you? Because you've expressed many period films. You've recommended a lot of them. Mm-hmm. But there's. Okay. Let's distinguish something here.
Yeah.
And this could be the finisher. If I can get this could be the lead.
Okay.
Is this movie a Disney property?
No.
It's not.
It's not.
It's not a Disney property. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Can you guys hear this evil laugh?
Ooh. Okay, it's not Disney. This makes it even harder.
How many minutes have transpired so far?
Honestly, it's been about 6 minutes now.
All right,
Can I
then.
have one last guess? One last guess.
That is your last guess.
That was my last guess?
No, now you have your last guess.
Okay.
You have to name something.
Princess Diaries.
No.
I thought it was Princess Diaries.
I literally
How can
said it is
be?
not a Disney property.
I don't know why I didn't.
Disney.
Because if it was Disney property, I would have said Princess Diary. But I thought
Princess Diaries, Mikhail, is not any sort of period-ish movie. Since, first of all, please give me my point. 5.5 point lead. I did it, guys.
You get 7.5.
7.5. Ready for the answer?
What is the answer?
If you kind of knew a bit of history, the beginning might have given it away.
Okay.
It is Marie Antoinette. Because she had to be handed over from Austria to France.
Could you have at least put a quote there where in the movie she says, "Let there be cake"? Maybe
No,
that
would have been too easy. I would never.
Maybe that
No.
could have helped me with something.
I could never. And also, in the second part, if you knew a little bit about the history, you know that she was kind of struggling with having a child.
Well,
That's why her
maybe
mom
you could
was
also
like...
say that there's a French Revolution outside the windows.
No, that happened at the very end of the movie.
Okay.
So this is in the middle where her mom is kind of like sending her a letter saying, your siblings are doing great. They're having children. Where is your children, basically? Where are they?
Okay, so I gotta say, this was really tough. And you put me on the spot. I really had to think out of the box. I almost had to think like you. Like, what are these period movies that Aisha has passionately expressed? And honestly, I don't think you've ever spoken about Maria Antoinette, which is, this is the biggest setup right here. But I respect it. I respect it because you got me, okay?
Unfortunately as well, yesterday you were not tuning in. You would have heard me say Marie Antoinette, just threw it in there.
Just like subliminal messages.
Exactly. I was like, did he listen to me? I hope he did. Because if he did, then he would have heard me say things like Emma, Sense and Sensibility, Pride and Prejudice, Marie Antoinette. So, because we were talking about, what was I talking about? It had to do with what was I talking about? I forgot.
Yesterday. Well, I wasn't here.
Well, you weren't here, so you win. I love you did do the podcast, though.
Technically,
you should have been listening. But anyway, you guys should also be listening because we still have that riddle going on. We did get the answer. How are our listeners doing?
Actually, they're doing pretty well. Because of the answer reveal, a lot of people are answering it in different ways. So they're technically right.
So we'll count them correctly. We'll just you guys just go crazy. Just text us 4215 Vitisalat Ordu. We are going to keep on playing that riddle, so if you missed out, it's okay. You still have a chance. Another 20 minutes or so before we start picking our winner. Coming up next, if you guys played Resident Evil 8, apparently, according to a director, they say that they stole some of the designs from his movies. And I've seen the pictures, and he might have actually a bit of a point.
All right, let's tune in for all of that and so much more right here on Pulse 95.
Make a hot cuppa and relax. It's Evening Karak with Aisha Al-Mazmi and Mikhail Atiyah.
On Pulse 95.
Plagiarism is a super serious problem, and especially like intellectual property aside, the fact that somebody's stealing something that somebody thought of aside, there's the entire story about trademarks and copyrights, and sometimes people say that it's on the internet, so it must be free and I can take it, which is incredibly wrong. But over here, we see this sort of a recurring story, but I did not expect it to be involved or coming from something as big of a title as Resident Evil, because according to a director, they say that Resident Evil 8 has actually stolen some of the designs from their movie.
The director who created the film, The Frankenstein's Army, has claimed that specific enemies that you encounter in Resident Evil 8 show similar designs, some of them even exact similarity to the ones that he has concocted in the film itself. With Resident Evil 8 coming out, it's become a commercial success. It's selling very well on platforms, Steam and PlayStation. I myself am rushing through Resident Evil 7 to get to 8, and hopefully I'll have a review by next week, inshallah. So I personally can't really look at the designs. I looked at one and then I stopped because I feel it's a bit of a spoiler, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
The scary and surprise element, I want to keep it for the first time when I see these monsters when you know, in games. But Aisha,
I have, obviously, because I'm not playing Resident Evil 8, and they're similar. They're
now,
very,
all of them,
very similar. Yes, I mean, I'm pretty sure you saw the first one.
The propeller head.
The propeller head, and that is, when you see it, you're like, that is literally copy-pasted, but a little bit refined, because I feel Frankenstein's Army is old-ish. I know you might say 8 years isn't old, but when it comes to certain advances and techniques in terms of visual effects.
Visual effects, yeah.
Not side effects. We're not talking about medicine. Visual effects, CGI and whatnot, and even costume design. There's been many changes. And of course, you can take some liberties in a video game because you can go crazy with the game design. So you might be a little bit limited when you try to replicate something in real life. So obviously, if you see the first one, the propeller head, first of all, it's like just an enhanced
that's a dead
version.
giveaway.
A dead giveaway. The second one, you might need to look closer, but just like I said, it's like taking the skeleton of the design from 8 years ago and then just making it more appropriate for the setting of the actual game.
Yeah.
So I absolutely believe them. Like, if you keep on looking through it, I believe them, especially since the first one is a dead giveaway. So when you think that, oh, this person might have been, or probably definitely has been inspired by this design, and then you kind of look at the other designs and you're like, yeah, even though they don't look exactly or as close as the first one, you can see elements here and there. And it's just kind of disappointing, to say the least, because that is not something you expect out of something as big as Capcom.
Yeah.
You wouldn't regard them as somebody who would steal any sort of designs, and it's disappointing.
I don't want to, get the lights and the pitchfork just yet. I do want to wait from Capcom to address it themselves personally and explain themselves. Maybe there is a heavy inspiration of some kind, but at the same time, this is still, and I wouldn't say unethical. I would say if you're not going to give credit where credit is due, then please do it before you make matters worse. Because I'm playing Resident Evil 7, and one thing that I really just get a lot of vibe from the game is its inspiration from Chainsaw Massacre. Like the antagonist of the games, the cannibalistic family, really reminds me of that film, you know. And there's even elements of, you know, how you play the game comes directly from that film itself, and it's almost like a nod. It's like a homage to that film, and in a way, it helped them create the artistic direction for that game. But again, it's not copy paste. I feel that is more appropriate than what is happening here.
But there's a difference between, like, say, when you say a movie is inspired by something as big as the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, or something that is inspired heavily by Halloween, especially since those are big established franchises. Those are cult movies. Those are cult franchises. Everybody knows them, and most likely they're owned by some very, very strong people who probably have covered all the intellectual property. So if something is too inspired, they can easily, you know, sue them. So they cannot really step beyond a certain line. You have to think about it from the point of view of, this is, again, big franchises, big people, big studios, versus a small studio and an individual who are probably from a smaller group of, creators, and somebody who has a lot of power, such as Capcom, being inspired by them. There's a difference between kind of picking up a thing or two. I mean, inspiration is such a subjective thing. Like, what is inspiration exactly? How far is it inspiration versus just outright stealing? So there's that to answer. But at the same time, you have to look at the dynamics. Again, it would have been big studio versus big studio, or big studio versus a small group of creators.
You guys, I want you to decide. Text us 4215 into Salat Urdu. Have you gotten the chance to play Resident Evil 8? And if you've seen this story circle around the internet, do you think the designs of the monsters in the game are exact copy-paste from the director's Frankenstein army? Do let us know. Join in the conversation. And again, you guys are going to have to wait a little bit longer for that Resident Evil 8 review, so stay tuned for that. But guys, stay tuned for the Final Fantasy VII Battle Royale. I know nothing about this, but I am a little bit curious, because I know Battle Royale is a big thing. So we got all the details for that and so much more right here on the Evening Kodak.
Make a hot cuppa and relax. It's Evening Karak with Aisha Al-Mazmi and Mikhail Atiyah
on Pulse 95.
There are some really big Battle Royale games on mobile, such as PUBG, we got Call of Duty Mobile, Fortnite, and in the near future, we're also going to get Apex Legends. But out of nowhere, and it seems like nobody even expected this, but Square Enix is also banking on a Battle Royale game on mobile, but within the world of Final Fantasy VII.
Yes, they're going all the way back 30 years before the events of Final Fantasy VII, around the time when Shinra, the company, was kind of involved with everything. They are back when they were trying to find soldiers for the military, and it has an interesting premise, of course. It kind of gives you a good background into what was happening back then, but I love the fact that they're obviously combining the Battle Royale genre with a little bit of magic, so they're keeping true to their Final Fantasy feels, and also you can ride chocobos, which is always a plus, of course.
What I really also like about it is the fact that people can now register for the beta, just get a little taste of what this gameplay could be like, if it even suits your taste, if you're a hardcore Final Fantasy fan, if this is something you're asking for. But I know if it's a Battle Royale, it's on mobile, it might just do very well, you know?
It could easily do so, and it can continue doing so for the next couple of years, perhaps even after the second part of Final Fantasy VII Remake comes out, because when it comes to any sort of open world game, there's only so much you can do. You can play it for a year or two, and then you need to eventually move on. But when we're talking about Battle Royale games, they usually last a very, very long time.
Longevity is sort of the key focus.
Exactly, especially when it comes to campaigns. Now, we're not sure what they're planning on doing beyond whatever we have right now. We don't know if Square Enix is just doing a small thing to accompany the upcoming sequel to Final Fantasy 7 Part 2, or is it, an ongoing thing that they're hoping to keep on,
retaining that player base
and keeping it strong well into the future. Perhaps it's going to be the battle royale that is going to be, keeping Square Enix profitable in the foreseeable future.
The way I see it also, it can act as a waiting ground for the player base, the fan base out there who are such huge fans and cannot wait for the sequel.
Or an introduction for other people, because not a lot of people not a lot of people can find Final Fantasy their cup of tea. It is, again, has, fantasy elements, action, open world, but a lot of people just prefer first-person shooters, third-person shooters, or just sticking to mobile games and also battle royale games. So
yes,
maybe them learning more about how to play this game, and they might think, I'm interested. I want to see what this game is about.
Making a convoluted franchise such as Final Fantasy a lot more accessible to the general public. Guys, text us 4215 Insalot or do a Final Fantasy 7 Battle Royale. Would you play it, and what would you do? What would you do while you wait for the next sequel? Because
finish the game.
Finish the game. There's the DLC that's coming out. Integrate.
You need a PS5 for that. And there are rumors that it's going to be exclusive on the PS5 for at least 6 months.
That's good.
So this means that if I want to play that extra DLC, I will need to probably wait until December or January.
Well, join the waiting PS5 stock bandwagon.
No, I'm good. I don't need a PS5 right now. I'm still attached to my PS4, and I feel like I have way too many games I'm trying to finish. Yes, I can migrate them to the PS5 perhaps, but why? I'm very content with whatever I have. Plus, I'm thinking about that Nintendo Switch Pro that might come out. That is my priority. That is what I'm trying to get my hands on, because also, according to rumors that we spoke about previously, there might be some shortages here and there, so I need to be very quick about it and get it as soon as possible. Coming up next is a potential solo Hulk movie. Some of you might say, yes, we've had 2 of them. What are you talking about? We've had plenty of Hulk movies. But no, we're talking about a Hulk movie within the MCU. And perhaps it can be an entryway, a point of, basically a gate for the introduction of other Hulks. Stay tuned for that and so much more right here on the Evening Cut.
Speculation, gossip, or hoax. Rumor has it.
Earlier, Mikhail tried No, he didn't try. He did not try at all. He gave us a very, very, very subpar, pun about the Hulk. And he says he's been preparing for one, and he has a really good one. So, Mikhail, do you want to reveal it, or do you want to wait a little bit?
Let's first give a little bit of people some context.
Let's go then.
Okay, so the rumors claims that Marvel Studios, Kevin Feige, is actually interested in working on a new standalone Hulk film that actually connects with the She-Hulk series, and it might introduce not only Bruce Banner, but a couple more Hulks from the comic book series. Now, you're thinking, wait, there's more than one Hulk? Yes, there is the Gray Hulk, there's Doc Green, there's Red Hulk, there's actually Red She-Hulk, right? And I remember I was saying, this is a movie that can not only be She-Hulk and He-Hulk, but also We-Hulk. Come on, Aisha. It's a good pun. You know what? I'm going to give myself a clap. I think I put a pretty good effort on that pun. He-Hulk, She-Hulk, We-Hulk. Thank you, guys. And that is it for tonight.
Listen, the We-Hulk thing, the reason why I'm giving you, just rolling my eyes is because I kind of hinted to it, honestly, earlier. And because you could have used that at the beginning, like back when I first spoke about it, could have said, "We Hulk," then I would have laughed because it would have made sense. It's too little too late.
I thought the build-up would, pay off better. But
there is no build-up because
it's okay, I'll just delete this whole segment on the YouTube video.
Like this never existed ever. But I'm obviously down for this. But are we reaching a point where we're getting way too many characters that we're losing track of so many people and what is happening with the MCU?
You say this now after there's multiple series and movies and
yes, okay,
in
because
development?
Listen, right now we can all tie in every single new character to some already existing franchise. You can tie in, Miss Marvel and with the Captain Marvel. You can tie in She-Hulk with the Hulk already, and you can tie it in with maybe Thor as well. You can tie in all these things together. If we get Nova, we can tie it in with Guardians of the Galaxy. If we get, we are getting Ironheart, and that ties it in with Spider-Man and Iron Man. So you see how we kind of already have, sort of contain stories that can take them in. And again, even though I said She-Hulk and the Hulk already exist and we're gonna get them anyway, I just think that maybe by that time we might have too many stories. But also I trust Marvel, they know what they're doing. So they give us an entire three phases and they're great. They did a great job in trying to not make everything overwhelming. Do you remember back when we used to watch the Avengers and we used to think, that's going to be too many people? Mm-hmm. Look at Infinity War, Endgame, and whatnot. Goodness, even Civil War. Civil War really kicked it off with the 20 characters in one movie thing. But I feel like where Marvel is going right now is probably different issues and different things that need to be resolved. We've got multi-dimensions, but we have multi-dimensions with Spider-Man. And multi-dimensions with Doctor Strange and Wanda. What is happening there? How are we going to get the new Black Widow introduced to the entire story? Is she going to be connected to Captain Marvel and Miss Marvel? And what is happening with She-Hulk, Doctor Doom, and all of those stories? Ironheart, how is she going to be introduced into the entire series? So I feel like we have at least 3 different stories
which
we're going to need to follow.
Which is suffice. So you don't believe the rumor could be true?
No, I think it could be true.
Because I feel like Hulk, of all the Avengers, never got that standalone movie treatment. Thor, Iron Man, Black Widow now,
Black Widow only took too long. I mean, honestly, I know that they probably were waiting for something that is like Black Widow's death so they can introduce the new Black Widow that's going to be Elena. But I feel like it would have been nice to have one back when the hype was incredibly, it was insane. But again, we trust Marvel. We trust I forgot their names, but the committee that makes sure and deals with everything and makes sure that everything is intact and makes sense.
Again, this is just a rumor, and this is a rumor that could possibly not be even true to begin with, because the distribution rights to Hulk is actually, it belongs to Universal. It's something similar to how Marvel and Sony, the Marvel-Sony conundrum, this is the Universal and Marvel conundrum as well. But again, this is Kevin Feige. I think he can sweet talk himself into new contracts and deals, and we might, maybe, I don't know now, but in the foreseeable future, get to see a standalone movie with multiple Hulks in it, and we can finally all scream together, "We Hulk smash." There we go. I'm gonna give myself another clap. There we go.
You can do that, but I'm pretty sure maybe the listeners probably agree with me that
there's probably
what they say in Arabic, Ada Sayyi. I'm really sorry.
That, or there's maybe multiple people driving in their cars now simultaneously face palming,
or just going oh my God, did he actually say this? But it's okay, we forgive you. We'll wait until after Eid. Maybe your Ada gets way better by then.
I don't know. I feel like I'm always going to be crazy. But guys, don't forget the riddle. We're going to play it one last time. Be sure to text us 4215 in Slaughter Do to get a chance to win 500 dirham cash on this wonderful celebration that we celebrate today, which is Eat Whatever You Want. So eat whatever you want, 500 dirham cash. I think that comes together, and we want to do that for you right here on Pulse 95.
Make a hot cuppa and relax. It's Evening Karak with Aisha Al-Mazmi and Mikhail Atiyah.
On Pulse 95.
I stand corrected. I was very, very, very adamant that this is something, an object or something like that. And I kept on shutting down Mikhail as he tried to give me crazy ideas, but apparently he was going towards the right track when we were talking about our riddle from earlier today. Now the riddle says, 4 clever men sat down to play and played all night till break of day. They played for cash and not for fun, with a separate score for everyone. Can you explain? Well, apparently now we can, because we did get the answer and we have picked our winner. The correct answer is they are a quartet. So you can see a quartet, somebody in an opera, as in, a concert, etc.
An orchestra band.
Exactly. Basically, the band who is playing it. And I'm annoyed because I was hoping it would be something different, but it's on me, honestly.
It's also on me. I mean, I guess 3 really, far-fetched answers. I'm thinking like 4 guys live streaming, getting money on Twitch. So, I mean, I feel pretty stupid here, but you guys have managed to answer it, and you guys really did a good job.
You guys are smart.
This is the thing, though. It's always difficult to pick somebody. There's so many texts here, and I really would love to give everybody 500 dirham cash, but we're gonna pick one noble winner for 500 in cash, courtesy of the Sharjah Chamber of Commerce Sharjah Chamber of Commerce and Industry. I said it correct. And the winner is gonna be Shada. Congratulations, Shada. God bless her. She says the 500 dirhams is gonna go towards her son's foosball table.
That's cool. I want a foosball table.
That's jealous. I used to have a table tennis for some reason.
Okay, that's cooler.
But then it got kind of busted. I didn't take care of it. So that's my fault.
That's your fault. Lots of looking back and admitting that we are at fault about everything. But, guys, put up your head, because tomorrow is going to be the last day of Ramadan. And I know, bittersweet, but this means that we have 500 dirhams. Yes, the last 500 dirhams. The last chance for you guys to win them. Again, courtesy of the Chamber of Commerce and Industry in Sharjah. So you might be our lucky final winner tomorrow. So keep your head up and do not give up. Of course, don't forget to celebrate with us. Eat what you want day. Even though it's already 10 p.m., you can eat whatever you want well into the night. And you might be thinking, I have Eid to look forward to. I've got clothes to fit in. It's okay. Eid will wait. Eid is not going to get ruined if you indulge a little bit. Just take that extra moment and make yourself happy. Be gentle to yourself and be nice to yourself, and also take care of yourself. And don't forget to tune in tomorrow for the last time to the evening karak for the month. After that, we're going to go back to the afternoon karak from 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. But tomorrow, same time, same vibes from 8 p.m. till 10 p.m. only here on Pulse 95.
If you liked this episode of Afternoon Karak, drop a like and subscribe.
Pulse 95.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram for all our daily updates and top stories.